Okay, remember that saboteurs on behalf of the oppressor are changing the sound of my voice to reduce my appeal because they hope that people won't hear my very important message. On the issue of slut shaming, as they say, people should try to help people who are slutty, if you will. They should try to help them be decent. Now, when we look at the word slut, in it we see the word lust scrambled into it. Now, to understand words, people often look to the Latin roots. And that is interesting, We see that there's a lot of connections there with the wordplay. And I don't want to make this video about wordplay, but that's important to note. That's not a coincidence that the word slut is the word lust scrambled. It's called an anagram. When you take one or more letter of the word and rearrange them, and it makes another word, right? With slut and lust. Just like the words part and trap. So we see that it's not enough to explain to a young lady why dressing like a slut is wrong, right? It's sexually provocative dress, sexually suggestive dress. And we see that magicians use the art of suggestion, right? The psychology of suggestion to get people to be suggestible and to do the things that they suggest. Okay? So again, they're using the art, what's called the art of suggestion, to get people to be suggestible and to do the things that they suggest. And this is one of the main ways they control sexual behavior. So when you see a female, okay, and they're often, can be nice people, what have you, showing her stomach, okay, or dressing in a way that society might deem as acceptable, but it's very, sexually suggestive, right? It's suggesting that they're slutty, suggesting that they engage in sexual behavior in a certain way, which is the reason why prostitutes dress the way they do. In the word prostitute, you have the word pro. They're the pro at what? Okay, the prostitute substitutes themselves for a decent woman, right? A classy woman or an average female, in order to get someone to think in terms of lust, in order to get them to pay a price. So when we look at it in terms of the Luciferians or the Satanists who run society, they want people to sell their souls. And that goes back to a key satanic deity called Eros, right? God is love. He's a romantic love. The essence of a romantic love derived from justice, what is fair and just and right. But Eros is where we get the word erotic desire. It's a Greek deity, okay? And Cupid, okay, is a Roman deity. And they're a deity of erotic desire, aka lust. So those in the spirit of lust, when they date, are in the spirit of being a slut and in the spirit of Eros, okay? And it's like the devil is shooting arrows at you, okay, trying to get you to fall for it. And then God is also shooting arrows at you to punish you for it. And you see the signs in life. We see a lot of prostitutes, for example, they get diseases, they go to prison, they suffer. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Part of it is the hypocrisy of the system. Part of it is it's what God allowed to happen to give signs to people as to what is right and what is wrong. It gets tricky when we see people who are in corporations, who are very financially successful, okay? And they try to sell you the idea that they're educated and that their immature and inappropriate relationships with their coworkers and bosses and their relationships that are derived from lust and psychology and money, they try to pretend that they're decent relationships, but they're not. Okay? And so they confuse you. No offense to anybody, but that is that particular white subcultural standard that dominates society to such an extreme. So the reason why I want people to see this video is I want them to stop following Eros all the way to hell. The word hell is like the word El. If you choose erotic desire and lust, or choose to present yourself in a way that promotes that way of thinking, right? Again, there's the word pro, right? Promotes, right? And prostitute, right? Prostitute, right? Substitute, right? There, she's substituting herself for the person who's actually a pro at life, who is the righteous and decent woman in the case of females, and instead superimposing herself and trying to use the art of inspiring sexual inclinations, and lust and desire and greed to try to win over some poor sap or maintain the erotic desire nature of people who have fallen into the devil's snare. And this is also a form of rape by deception. Listen very carefully. Because when a woman has sense and insight and wisdom and focus, she is not going to sleep with people with that erotic desire spirit. She's going to look back at it and she's going to feel filthy. She's going to think that she's dumb. She's going to say things like, what was she thinking? Okay? Because she wasn't thinking. Now, why exactly wasn't she thinking to the point where she asked herself what she was thinking? Because the organized corporations who have decided to live a life which promotes satanic thinking, whether they consider themselves Satanists or not, have used the construct, right? The construct to convince her to live an erotic desire life and therefore throw the good guy under the bus. The reason why the good guy finishes last and the decent guy, the really good guy's right with God, doesn't finish at all, basically. It goes back to that psychology, that trickery-based rape, that organized rape by deception, trickery-based rape, rape by subtle coercion. What will your friends think? Will you lose your job? What have you? They work all the angles. And they're the angles to get you to fall in the trap. Therefore, they're the fallen angles. Therefore, they're the fallen angels. And the word angels is an anagram for angles.